Hello YouTubers, we're going to try something different here today. I'm out for a little ride. It's Saturday morning and I'm out for a little ride on the GoldWing. We won't be joined by Kathy this morning because she got a few things she wants to do around the house. It's Saturday, June 17th, and it's 10:28 a.m. So what we have is got the remote set up here for the GoPro 5. I'm wearing the GoPro Chesty. Some people suggested, hey, why don't you try the Chesty instead of on top of your helmet? I'm not a fan of motorcycle cams on one's body, especially on the head, because people get a tendency to get motion sickness when they're watching it, including me. And down on the chest I find them a little bit too low, but hey, you know what? I'll try it and see. So some new additions to the wing, or a new addition to the wing, is these Kuriakin lights here. I hooked them up this week. They are compliments of Kathy for Father's Day. So let's see what they look like. We shall start the beast up. So they are running lights. Okay, and they are signal lights. So a little bit of extra safety I figured would be good. Now the flags won't be there when we're driving, obviously, but yeah, so you know, a little bit of visibility is always nice. So make sure everything is working, and it is. So let's get rolling. I shall get better audio now in a second because I'm going to hook up to the system here. Okay, hopefully now you can hear me better. Hopefully. I'll put down the garage door. So if this works out, well, this will be the standard way that we'll be doing our GoldWing videos. So you'll have to go back to the first video we just done a couple of days ago on the GoldWing and compare the dash cam, or not dash cam, compare the GoPro on the helmet as opposed to the Chesty, and see what you think. Yeah, okay, what do we got here? Oh, we have, well, I'll see if I can push this thing back so you can see. That's one thing about the Chesty, you can't, when you turn your head you don't see what I see. Okay, let me turn it. Okay, that's done. That's the job we got done yesterday. We're back in the shop now as of Thursday, and there's a Mercedes there, that's done, and there's a Sea-Doo down in the back that we have to pull the engine out of. So I got to see now if I got the angle of this thing right. Let me see here, folks, because it takes time to get these things right. Oh, don't want to lose my balance. Don't want to wipe out my own driveway. Okay. So we're just going to basically just go for a run around the town. Okay, hopefully that'll be good. And let's go. Oh, one more thing I got to do. Because the last time I was on this, I had it set up for Kathy. So she's going to come down there now. Let's see, memory 1. So she's going to let some pressure out of the rear suspension system, and we're down to 11. That's where it should be. Okay, here we go. What is the temperature? Well, saying 19 degrees, but that's where the bike was stopped, so when we get going we'll get a more accurate reading. And away we go. We've He's got plenty of motion potion. So we're gonna go, where are we gonna go? I don't know where we're gonna go. Try to go somewhere a little bit different. All I know, it's just an absolutely gorgeous morning. And what else? What's new? What's new? Okay, well, everybody seemed to like the ceiling hoist that I put in the shop there this week. I was telling my doctor about it, and she said, well, at least you're working smarter. I said, well, there's a little bit of pain getting it up there, but there's going to be a lot of gain later on. She said, well, exactly. So she was all for it. And I had my doctor's appointment yesterday, and of course they said, well, she said, well, there's no reason why you can't go back to work now full time, so starting Monday, I'm going back to the shop full time. Well, actually, Thursday and Friday I was in there 8 hours. Thursday, well, a little more, I'm not going to say exactly, but a little more than 8 hours on Friday. So, put it to you this way, last night when I went to sleep, Kathy never had to sing me any lullabies to get to sleep. Man, I was so tired. I guess not used to it yet, you know. But the doc did say, you know, like, don't go going crazy lifting stuff. She said, you know how to regulate that stuff. And I said, oh yeah, that's no problem. So, well, she knows me anyway. She's a customer of ours for years, so she knows how I work. It is what it is. Anyway, I was looking so much forward to getting out on the wing this morning that, well, for number one, I forgot the cell phone. So I got on the bike, then I got off the bike, and then I said, well, what am I forgetting? I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah. Then I remembered, got on the bike, remembered nitroglycerin. Never took my nitroglycerin. Haven't ever had to use it, but apparently I'm supposed to have it with me just in case, so. And then I got on the bike and I said, you know what, it's a nice morning and Kathy's not here and there's lots of room on the bike. So I said, you know what, I should go get the camera and hook it all up and get you guys to come along for a little short ride. And so that's what I did. So I said, well, somebody suggested, hey Paul, did you try a chesty for wearing the camera? And I tried them before, I wasn't real happy with them, but anyway, you know what? I'll let you guys determine if it's any good or not. If you're rather on the helmet, well, that'll help me decide on the helmet or on the chest. Because I think right now you're probably seeing a good bit of the dash and part of the windshield. That vent is probably in your way by now, I don't know. But regardless, hey, at least you're along for the ride. Boy, that crushed stone, when they put that around, it's just like marbles under your tires. And of course, the price gouging continues out here where we live. It's $1.20.9 with per liter for fuel. It's gone down a good bit, but if you drive into the city, well, of course, Costco into the city over on the East End, well, they got a tendency to keep the prices down, so it's probably 11 or 12 cents a liter cheaper. So, hey, we go to town, we go to the city probably at least once a week, possibly twice. So we wait and buy our fuel in there. If the gas stations want to gouge us out here, well, we'll boycott them. So that's basically what we do. Yeah. Besides, none of them gives us any business, so why should I sweat it? Old Ford dealership. We're in Spaniards Bay right now, folks. And it's an old Ford dealership that was there. They relocated to Bay Roberts and got a big, fancy, swanky dealership there now. But they were there for a long time. And that's Conception Bay Harbor right there. Or Spaniards Bay Harbor, I guess you'd call it. And then over there on the hill, that's Bishop Cove Shore. If you continue going up this hill here. That'll be, you'll still be in Spaniards Bay. But I think we'll go to, where will we go? We'll go up through Bishop Cove Shore, I guess. Oh boy, gotta watch it here. Slippery here with the crushed stone. Somebody there looking at their cell phone. I hope he don't fall down and kill himself going over that bridge, not knowing where he's going. We have created a generation of friggin' zombies. When you can't go out for a walk and not take your eyes off your phone. See, an older generation there, not looking at the phone. Amazing. People out mowing, and of course that's what I should be doing, but I don't know. Sometimes you just got to make a little bit of time for yourself. Got to watch the potholes and stuff, man. I haven't been on this road now. Oh my gosh, I don't know how long. A long time. But it's a nice area. It's right up on the side of the hill and overlooking the ocean. It's not quite so windy today as it was the last time I had you out on the wing. I guess with a full face helmet, you wouldn't see you wouldn't feel the effects of the wind so much. But I don't know, you know, like when you start getting in the full face helmets and protecting yourself from the wind and the rain and the noise and the bugs and the, you know, aren't you losing a little bit of that motorcycle experience? I don't know. Very debatable. I kind of like the open face. I know the full face is much safer. Hey, how much worse can it look for me? LOL. But anyway, that's how I feel. What's the temperature? Okay, that's more like it. 17 degrees Celsius, folks. And that's it, too. That's very accurate. Nice to see things getting greener and the trees starting to spread their leaves. I'm not losing my breath, folks. It's just that there's a lot of little dips in the road here, and it kind of takes your breath away when you strike them, to be honest with you. Here you go, town of Bishop Cove. Established in 1969. A lot of times when you're looking over there, let's see if I can turn the camera for you. Looking over there, you'll see whales. The whales come in after the capelin, feeding off the capelin, which are small fish, and they're in the hundreds of thousands. Yeah, so they come in feeding off of those guys. I don't see any there yet. We have a thing here when they talk about the capelin, or the capelin rolling. That's the question. And what they mean by rolling is when the capelin comes in on certain beaches and they beach themselves and they spawn. And that's when you see a lot of whales, because again they come in after the food. Just a little bit of useless trivia for you. That's what I like about the GoldWing. I mean, look, I love Harleys, but you know, with the GoldWing, it's not intrusive. You can drive through communities and you don't even hear it. Now, of course, Harleys are like that too, but people change the exhaust out of them. They make them bark. I don't know. They say loud noises save lives, but again, very debatable. Nice old truck there. I just like taking my time and going through communities and not disturbing anybody. Another fetish that I have as a motorcycle rider, I guess I do it through, sign of respect, is when you're going past a funeral home. If I have my music on, I always mute my music as I'm going by. And people are outside and they're grieving and they're taking a break from what's going on inside. They don't want to see some guy going around celebrating life on a motorcycle playing whatever he's playing. So that's just one thing I do. And another thing I do is I don't go past anybody pushing a baby carriage too close, and I also don't have my music on when I go past, because I don't want to disturb them. Maybe the little kid is asleep in the baby carriage, you don't want to startle them. I guess I'm being oversensitive, but in this day and age we could use a little more being sensitive, because it's a crazy world. I mean, look at the peak on that place. Don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can turn it up a bit. Yeah. Sorry if I'm talking too much. Just trying to keep you all entertained so you don't fall asleep behind me and fall off the bike. If anybody's wondering how I'm getting the audio like I'm getting it, especially GoldWing riders, is I have a lavalier mic literally taped to the earpiece of my J&M speaker in the helmet. And I have my radio that's on the bike, my two-way radio that Kathy and I communicate with. I have that turned up a notch, so I'm really broadcasting through my bike system, through the earpiece, or through the lavalier mic. It's running down the side of my helmet, and it's running into the adapter that comes with the GoPro Hero 5. And the reason why I do it that way, because the GoPro Hero 5 has a terrible audio system. Oh my gosh, it's brutal. But it's a good camera, as all GoPros are, or were. But the, oh boy, some rough here, man. You guys probably can't see that, but you can see by the way the windshield is going up and down like a dog's stomach. This is a bad part of town. I don't mean citizen-wise, I mean road-wise. Oh, big one there. I guess they don't have the money for the infrastructure to patch it all up. Anyway, yeah, so if you got a Hero 5 GoPro, there's an adapter that you can plug into the side of it that will accept a lavalier mic or a mic with a 1/8 RCA connector, and you can get much better audio. So we have a lot of people like all over the world that literally love these types of videos because they get a chance to see our countryside, and that's a quote. So it's for those people. I mean, I know it's so far removed. I gotta watch it here. Okay, kind of a compound hill where it's a slant going down and it's a slant going up. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, yeah. So we get a lot of people commenting how they like these types of videos. So we try to cater to everybody, and it's an opportunity to do one when I'm out on the bike anyway. It takes a little bit of time to work it all out, but hey, you know what? You guys are worth it. So now we're in Island Cove, guys, or gals, guys and gals. And it's a nice area. I mean, you can go a couple of 1,000 feet here and be in a different community. It's just the way it's laid out here. So let's go to Brian's Cove. Gotta watch that sand. So nice to be out on this. Boys, I'm going to tell you something. As much as I like tractors, never going to beat a bike. Just love that freedom and getting out. Now, normally, I'd be cruising along, have my music on, and not a care in the world, but I can't turn on any music because of copyright infringements. They don't want me playing somebody else's material, which in fact in a lot of cases I think it just promotes their material, especially if you're playing it through a radio and you're not actually stealing it. You're playing it through your MP3 player, which you, like in my case, I buy everything off iTunes, so I don't understand it, but I guess artists are sensitive, and I suppose they've been ripped off, and I mean, face it, they're basically all only millionaires or billionaires, so they want to get every last penny they can get. Again, another debate probably starting over that. Yeah, it's kind of amazing. I started off riding back in 1970. I can see an iceberg right out over that hill there, folks. I hope you can see it. Let's see if I can. There's a car behind me. I was going to stand up and show you. But yeah, I can't see it from here now. Anyway, it's gone behind it's ducked down behind a hill. Yeah, I started out riding in 1970. My father bought me my first Honda Mini Trail, a ZAD 50 Mini Trail. Bought it used from a friend of mine by the name of Danny Burridge. And Danny moved on up to a CT70. And man, I'm going to tell you, I'll never forget the first time that I got on that thing. I'm telling you, life was as good as it possibly could get. And over the years, I think I've calculated I had about 41 motorcycles. Gotta watch it here. Man, the road is bad. Anybody who's wondering, Island Cove back there, that's where Luke lives. Yeah, a lot of you guys will know Luke from a few of our videos. He lives back there when I mentioned Island Cove. Yeah, so I had 41 motorcycles in my lifetime. I guess this is like 41 or 42 maybe. And who would have ever thought back in 1970 that right now I'd be cruising along on a Saturday morning with a 6-cylinder motorcycle, 1800 cc's, with reverse, ABS brakes, cruise control, CD, AM, FM, weather band, and MP3 hooked up to a camera system, and go back, and a couple hours later the world will see it. Now, that's how far we've come in 50 years. Folks, what's it going to be in another 50? Ask yourself. And I guess the other question is are we better off? Well, I think we are. We've you know, we've improved so much on, you know, medicine alone. Holy smokes, I mean 8 weeks ago I had a heart attack. I had 2 heart attacks. And you know, you go back to 1960s and I have a heart attack. I don't know how it was handled back then, but man, I'm going to tell you one thing. It wasn't handled like it's handled now. I mean, I went into a hospital, and I mean, Carbonear General Hospital, and I mean, you know, I wasn't feeling the best. I can tell you that, folks. It was pretty grim at the time. And every person in that hospital that laid a hand on me was so professional. The nurses, the doctors, they just knew what they had to do. There was never any doubt in their mind what they were doing. It was just absolutely incredible, you know. And here I am, lying back, with basically trusting them with my life, and feeling comfortable just by observing them and knowing that this is a big hill here, folks. This is a real big hill. But yeah, you know, they were just so professional. Like, it's unbelievable. It's mind-boggling, actually. And of course, I even knew a couple of nurses while I was in there, and they were, that was even a bonus for me. And then, of course, you know, 6 days later, I ended up into the city getting an angiogram and a dye test. And the next thing, you know, like, here I am lying down, and I'm looking at my heart on this big monitor, and I'm watching all this, and I'm watching the doc putting this wire up through my arm, and, you know, and putting the stent in, clearing up the artery, and I'm thinking, man, oh man, like, this is incredible. And I'm telling you, I had no pain. I've had more pain going to a dentist. It's unbelievable, the technology. And everybody's so kind and good-hearted. Boy, you know, what a place we live in. What a world we live in. And yet, you know, you turn on the news and politicians are fighting in the U.S. Man, you know, like a world power looks like it's literally falling apart. You know, used to be so proud, you know, to I don't mean to get political, folks, but I mean just listen to all the bickering. You know, why can't people get along today? You know, it's not even about people wanting to do a job now for money, because obviously to be a president now, you need to be a multi-millionaire or a multi-billionaire. I think it's just the power. It's just the power of it all. I mean, people can't afford their drugs. And, oh my gosh, what a mess, what a mess. You know, just to the point where I don't even want to turn on the TV anymore. And I mean, it's not perfect everywhere. I mean, here in Canada, our transport minister tells us we can't fly drones and all close to houses. We can't fly it close to people. We can't fly them at all. And over even an old shed, we can't fly it over. That's the transportation minister. And the prime minister is telling us he wants to legalize marijuana. So he wants everybody in Canada stoned out of their minds. And I mean, like, the Lung Association has been fighting for 50 years, telling people do not smoke, it causes cancer and a pile of other stuff, and now we got the government promoting it. Why? It's money. It's all money. So I guess, you know, growing up, Mom used to say, well, the root of all evil is money. Yeah, there you go. You don't look at the long-term effects that it's going to cost the Medicare system in Canada for all the brain damage, all the lung cancer, all the impaired drivers is going around stoned out of their minds. Oof. Hey folks, I hope I'm not giving you all too much to take on this morning. But that's what I like about going out on a motorcycle. You actually get to sit back and assess what's going on in the world. And I'm not going fast. It might seem like I'm going fast. Maybe you can see the instrument cluster from your point of view. I don't know. But right now I'm just going a little under 60 kilometers an hour, which is 40 miles an hour. So, and now we're in Harbor Grace South. So it's very, very nice here. Very nice. There's a marina coming up ahead, and there's a big crane there for some reason. See if I can turn the camera for you folks so you can see some of this. Nice longliner. Got all the aluminum work on that, folks. Wow. Okay. Hopefully I didn't disturb you too much. I hope you're not disturbed as much as I am. Oh. And then over there to your right, you'll see the SS Kyle. And we featured that in a few of our videos. Actually, a couple of years ago, we flew right over it in a drone, so it's over 100 years old, and it actually beached there in the late 60s. It broke its mooring and it drifted right in there, and that's where it stayed. I think there was a squabble over who was going to pay to move it, but it's actually caught on the sand. And like I say, you know, it's a good bit of history there. Let's see if I got a vehicle coming there, so hopefully you can see it. Yeah, she's in pretty rough shape. She's deteriorated. I wanted to fly over it again this year, but when Transport Canada came in and said I'm not allowed to fly over it, I said, well, frig 'em, I won't bother it. I kind of wanted to fly over it every year, once a year, just to see, but just to show people the deterioration of it, you know. But hey, leave it to the government to pull something good up. What do you do? Okay, now we're going to go across what they call Tilton Barrens. I'll probably post this video in its entirety. That way, if you don't want to watch it, you can just skip through it. I know it's very much different than what most of our viewers kind of like the shop videos and kind of like the tractor videos. But we do have a lot of people out there who ride motorcycles, and they kind of like to see this sort of thing. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what you think about the Chesty. Ooh. Roads are bad. This way. anyways. It's not too windy, it's just that going along here, of course, on a motorcycle, in an open environment other than the windshield, you gotta get some wind. On mornings like this, you got to watch out for moose. You always got to keep your eyes peeled for moose. You ever come to, oh, there's a rabbit there, folks. Oh, he just went down. You look and you might see him in your, you might see him in the video. Yeah. But yeah, along here, where the trees aren't cut far enough away from the road, one can pop out at any minute at all. Of course, some of you will remember when it happened to Kathy and I in the Mustang 2 years ago, and we captured it on the dash cam. It was a very scary situation. Estimated at 1,000 pounds, and they are very high off the ground. They're long-legged, and of course, when they hit your vehicle, they don't hit your grill. They come in through your windshield. So that's the scary part. But anyway, last week we got a few videos out for you. We like to be able to keep them going on a regular basis. Now with the shop going, we'll be able to do more. We've got a good bit of stuff lined up to get done. It's amazing, you know, our customer base. A lot of them waited 7 and 8 weeks for us to come back to work. They wouldn't let anybody change their tires. They wouldn't let anybody service their vehicles. And we even had an elderly couple that didn't even want to drive at all until I got out of hospital, because they felt like if anything happened, they wouldn't have anybody they could rely on. So God bless them. You know, it's nice to be needed. It's nice to be appreciated. So, it's absolutely amazing. I've personally learned a lot, so have Kathy, from my illness. We've learned the importance of friends, and friends don't have to be people who are around you every day. They can be people, as we learned, they can be people from all over the world who you never get a chance to meet personally, but yet you consider them your friends because you're pretty well listening to them and talking to them on a daily basis or even a weekly basis. I might not get a chance to, of course I won't, but I don't get a chance to reply to everybody's comments, like I said before, but I certainly do read them all, and I'm telling you, we really appreciate your comments too. Everybody likes to have something to say, and we appreciate it. We have people who call us, people who drop in to see us from other parts of the province, and that gets a little hard on us when we're working because it disrupts our working day, puts us behind, but on the weekends it's fine, it's not a problem. But it just totally amazes me how people can have so much interest in a man and a woman like Kathy and I. Up until our YouTube channel, I just figured we were everyday people just doing everyday things. And we had people calling us and saying, well, you know what, it's nice, it's refreshing to see something that's not acted, not a put on. Well, you know, what you see, folks, is what you get. Where this is real reality TV for you guys. You can believe me. I don't think we've ever had a second take. what ends up in the camera, you guys end up seeing, unless a compressor cuts in and drowns out the noise. Well, then I'll edit that out. Or if I got a friend in the shop like my buddy Ted, he kind of lets a scattered cuss word out because he knows it. Not that I don't, but I just don't like doing it on film. So I might edit that out, or well, I won't. I not might. I do. And so that's the only exceptions that we make when it comes to the editing process. I do all the editing. Kathy does all the shooting, and I can tell you, she's responsible for at least 90% of all the videos. If she didn't grab the camera, you wouldn't be seeing them. And I can tell you, she's after really improving on her videography, because she's way ahead of me using the camera. I can't touch her with a camera. She's always in frame, whereas I'm all over the place. I guess I don't take the care anymore to look after it, because I kind of left her with that responsibility, which is great. It's really good that she's taken a legitimate interest in the channel. And of course, that's the only way it can work as a family channel, when you have the family all wanting to be involved. So we're on our way back now. It'll start looking familiar to you here now. And we're in Spaniards Bay again. They dig up the road here because they have trouble with their water and sewer sometimes. And eventually it'll be paved again. Just up here a little ways, there's a place called the Stonewall Inn. It's right here, and it's where you see that rock wall. And he's a customer of ours, and that's a bed and breakfast. It's a really fine fella, keeps a real clean place. So if anybody's ever traveling through this area and you want to look up Stonewall Inn in Spaniards Bay, and I can guarantee you, Ian will make you comfortable. There's not a problem there. There's another one there. I don't know who owns it, but it's been there a long time as well. There's lots to see in the area. Kathy was pretty pleased with everybody's support when she was driving the BX. And so was I. So we're going to be doing a lot more of that. She hasn't been on it since. She don't want to get on it unless I'm filming her, because it's like we were talking about. We said, well, when she gets on the BX, you saw her for the very first time. So she got on it and she used it, and what's going on up here now? Accident, maybe? I don't know. Or just heavy traffic. Yeah, so she's... Oh, okay, some kind of a fundraiser. Okay, I'll pause this for a minute, folks. Okay. Yeah, so what we're going to do is every time she gets on it now, when she gets on it again, when you see her again, that means that's going to be her second time on the tractor. And the reason why we're doing it that way is because it should, or we hope that it's going to encourage others that may have spouses that's never been on it, never tried it, to encourage her to try it. So it's just a learning experience. And I'm going to tell you something, like, it was the most fun that I ever had with a tractor in my life, and I wasn't even operating the thing, so that was a great bit of fun. And Kathy really enjoyed it. So maybe if I can set this up properly, all I can do is just do the service on the equipment, she can use it. And I can stay in and watch Another World on television. Anyway, now the place should start looking familiar to you now, folks. Because we're almost back to the homestead. People are out on the side of the road selling flowers. What a day, eh? Oh. Yeah. We are back. Oh, we are back. How cool is this? So I'm going to take my trailers now when I get this straightened away. I'm going to put them back down in the back and get ready for the week to come. So anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed the ride. I know I certainly enjoyed having you with me. Everybody have a safe and happy day. Don't go texting and driving. Be good to each other, and we'll see you in the next video. You guys take care, and God bless.